And good morning. Happy 2026 for the second time. We were not live ourselves. We were on Empty Pockets podcast, wishing everyone a happy new year. My intention was to go live, but James had invited me up on his stream, and it seems as everybody had to go. So it was just me and him, and I didn't want to do my friend like that, so I stayed and enjoyed the good time with him. I'm glad I did. We had a good time. The good folks. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a good start to your new year. Now, all the time zones should have rolled through. Some of them were still waiting. Last time, my sister, who lives in Nevada, was trying to stay awake. She told us that she didn't know she was going to make it. They were extremely happy in the house, though, because her husband is a Miami fan. And, of course, Miami defeated the Ohio State Buckeyes. They have now lost. That's the third time they've lost on New Year's Eve in the last several years. Of course, they won the championship last year, but they are not going to win it this year. Good morning, all of you on YouTube, out bright and early, or you have been up all night. You could have done that as well. But we hope you had a safe, celebration. There were a lot more fireworks than I thought there were going to be in my area, and gunfire. Just a little bit more. I don't remember there being that much, but hey. I think a lot of people were really happy to see 2025 go by. I don't know why people wish their life away, but it was good. It was good to bring in a new year. It's been a rough year for us in many ways. I'm still trying to bring things up, so y'all pardon me while I work on some stuff. I was kind of getting up late myself. I looked at the clock and I was like, you ever wake up and you're like, the alarm goes off and you're like, surely it can't be that time. I mean, like, there's no way it's that time already. Like, so I was actually up, but I just laid there. It was nice and warm, and got to enjoy a little bit of sleep, or not sleep, but cruising the internet and looking at news and seeing what was going on. And I was reading a little bit about the football game, because I didn't watch any of it. I just came online with James and we talked. Oh, they talked all kinds of stuff, politics. We talked a little bit of sports at the end. We talked a lot of crazy stories. Met some guests, some new friends and stuff. So it was a lot of fun, and we had fun with it. And whatever you were doing, I hope that you had a blast. I do. And Happy New Year, the Roasting Bros. Hey, I like that. The Roasting Bros. Yeah, Happy New Year to all of you. Give us a like, follow, and share this crazy 1965 version of the Cornbread Man. Welcomes you by, and we hope that we everybody's not for everybody, but we hope that there's something here that you'll find interesting enough to stop back by and want to say hey. I was actually up this morning early talking to a friend who's been on the program. Happy New Year again. Thank you. And I guess I could appreciate you stopping by wherever you are coming from. And boy, I like all the colorations and stuff. I like that. Y'all are funny. But it was, I was talking to an author, and then there's the Roasting Bros. I was talking to a friend of the program who's been on. It's been a while. They went through a lot of physical recovery, had an injury, and they're kind of back on their feet, I think, but they're an author as well. And they released 2 or 3 books last night to the publishers, which is crazy to me. But I guess if you're kind of not able to get out and do much, you're right. So they're a prolific author. And I said, hey, you got to come on the podcast again. We missed you. I hadn't seen you in a while, or something to that effect. But anyway, we need to have you. So you're always working. You're always working your crowd. It could be, and someone said that last night. We had Violent Vixen is one of her screen names, but she has another. And she was saying that, like, we're always busy with our stuff, late at night, early in the morning. We don't sleep well. And I have that this week here. I'm off of work for the most part. I've been off work, and I am not sleeping well. I'm up in the middle of the night. I'm doing different things, but it's not like it doesn't feel like that. You just do it. It's not, you're not even thinking about it. You're always thinking of the podcast. And it's not like we have we have people that are helping with that are co-hosts, but there's no staff, there's no secretary, that you're all those things. So you're working on a lot of different things at the same time. Multitasking, I think they call that. I don't mind. Mine's probably not very well multitask, but I do the best I can. God bless America. I'm very patriotic. Love the country I'm in. We may have problems. Still the greatest place on the face of the planet to be. I apologize for nothing. Um, Hey, all right. Thank you for that. Love your lives. Can you shout out my brother Nick Gurr? Nick Gurr, God bless you wherever you're at, and definitely give you a shout out, Nick Gurr. So, but thank you for that. Thank you for that. We try to have a little fun here. I don't like to be too. I mean, you have to get serious sometimes, but I like and the guys back here, they don't like that. They're getting more active back in the game again. We have new guys on the way. Biscuit Boy is going to be along with him. We're working out details on that, adding to the family of puppets. I shouldn't say that very loud. They might get upset that I said puppets, but they get riled up. But I'm going to be working with them here at the end of the week on some new material and stuff. And people really like the humor that they bring. Bubba likes to do the dad jokes. Yeah, hey, I appreciate you though. Hey, you got to go recharge that phone. Thanks for stopping by. So I understand. Ain't that like the worst feeling in the world? Your phone is about to die. It's like, I got to get off here. My phone is about to die. Hey, love you too. God bless. And, that's what we need. A little more love in the world, a little more happiness, a little more, just getting back to the basics of life. Not being too serious about ourselves, not taking things too serious. We have to be serious sometimes. It's not the funnest thing, but having fun, caring about people, and not trying to tear each other down. We'll call it out. I mean, we call it out when we see people doing dumb things, but I generally wish everybody health and happiness and all that. I don't have no enemies. If they don't like me, I can't help that. That's one thing, is I can never help how somebody feels about me, but I generally just try to love everybody, and I may not like something somebody does, but they don't answer to me, so I try to be that. Now we're talking about the country and how people are doing in our country. It makes me very angry, just like it is anybody, when I see wrong things done, no matter who they are. If they're doing something that's not good, I don't like that, and I call it out. But I like the energy, the people I surround myself. This is important in life. It's important to surround yourself with people who make you a better person, who draw you into being a better version of yourself, who you challenge yourself to be, not, try to be like somebody, but you see qualities in them. You think, I want to be like that. And everybody does these, these resolutions, New Year's Day resolutions. I don't do those. I just try to be better. I just try to be better at the things that I know I need to work on, or I just want to see it get better. Maybe it's already pretty good, or even, I don't know if I would say great, but you're trying to enhance everything and work on the things you really need to work on, and do better. If that's, health wise, finances wise, relational, to be a better citizen, a better, father, grandfather, for me, whatever I can be, just try to be that. Then that's what I believe in doing. And, but, if it's, eating healthier, getting a workout routine, you don't have to wait till J1, January 1. You can do that anytime. And so it's really always nice when you're kind of doing things already when January 1st gets here, and you're already practicing the better, or hopefully the better version of you as you get into life, and you're, think, I'm going to be better at this, and sometimes circumstances force you to reinvent yourself a little bit. This year, or this past year now, my wife's health took a turn, and she's hanging on, and we're having good times, but it's a change. Does not have the health of the person that she had the year before. So we started out the year, and it's really hard because you see that version of her, and then about middle ways into the year, things began to happen, and we're stabilized now, and we're trying to improve. And she's getting good checkups, but she's got to get stronger. The speech, trying to get that back. Those are tough things. One of my sons, he had a rough year last year. He got in some trouble. I can't see him right now because he's in a place where he can't be seen. That's not fun stuff. In fact, it's, very frustrating, but you have to live life. You have to keep going. Do the best job you can do at your job, and life really just does move on. In fact, and my granddaughter is up early. She's trying to call me right now. and she's probably amazed that that I'm not answering the phone call. She's probably thinking, why is he not answering this early? She forgets sometimes that I am online, so I'm gonna have to message her and say, baby girl, I can't take the call right now. So I've told her this. If I'm on live, I don't take unless it's emergency. I said, you're better to text me and let me know. Let me just tell her real quick that I'm live. So they call it, they don't say going live. My grandkids they say, are you recording? That's what they think. They forget that it's live. So sometimes they'll walk in and I go, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were recording. Because early on when we first started the podcast, it's closing in on 2 years or will be, we did actually record several shows to begin that. We didn't go live. In fact, we couldn't go live. We didn't have the means to go live. We were still learning and we didn't have the platforms that would let us do that. So she's let me know when you get done. And I put in the wrong thing. She said, call me. So she's out at her family's, which is about an hour away. And I bet she's about ready to come home. So I think she was hoping to be tomorrow or was thinking it'll be tomorrow. She's probably thinking, I'm ready to come home. Well, she's ready to come home. She's ready to come home. And I love having her home. 13 years old. Me and her are supposed to do a radio show. We're supposed to already done it. Well, it's really an MP3 show. She does not want to be seen on screen. She's like, she's all worried, her looks and everything. And she's like, one day she asked me, she said, do you go live? Get ready. I'm like, this is as good as it gets. And she's like, you don't comb your hair? I said, I wear a hat. Well, I do comb my hair, but I put a hat on. I said, no muss, no fuss. Just go live. She's like, well, I'd have to do my makeup. I said, what about an MP3 show? And she said, I don't want people to see me. But she said, I could do that. I said, baby girl, when you grow up, you're not going to care what anybody says. You're absolutely going to not care. Most people get that way. It's like, I don't care. But when you're young like that, it's like the end of the world for, you're so afraid of how somebody's going to perceive you. And really all that's wasted time because they're going to, in life, people are going to make fun of you. They're going to, if they're that kind of people, they're going to make fun of you. And it's not going to matter what you do with yourself. They're going to be that person. Just learn to say, I don't care, whatever. Well, I will say that is ugly and you will be gone, but I will let you hear this before you go. I will pray for you because you will answer for saying that to a man of God. That's all I will say. I wish you no harm, but you need to remember that. And I'll just say, bye, see ya. So, if that's what you want to be, but you will answer to the good Lord above for saying something like that to a man of God. That's all I'll say. If people don't like that, they can look it up and they can look in the Bible and they can look and see examples of what happens when you attack like that. You with people, you will answer for that. So you better get forgiveness real quick. That's not good. Not to change me, but to say something like that, young and being stupid or old and stupid or whatever. Do I like mixed martial arts? I've watched some of it. I wouldn't say that I watch it because I don't. Some of that you have to pay for, but I have watched a little bit of it. What's the guy? I mean, there's several big names out there. I've watched just a little bit of it. It was on TV. I flipped by. Ask God to prove his existence. Ask for his love. He will prove himself at the best time. Your life will change. Hallelujah. Amen. And yes, that will happen. And because some people say, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in the man. I saw somebody last night saying, and they're local to me, and I saw them say, God, God would not use man to write the word, and man wrote it. I hear this stuff all the time, and I'm thinking that out of your ignorance, you show what you don't know. like you show that you don't know anything about what you're talking about, and it's scary to be online and saying stuff that you don't know, but it's just ignorance. They don't know, and they try to make up stuff as they go, and it sounds good to them. Because they think they're being logical, prolific, like, let me show you how smart I am. I am smarter than all the masses because I do not believe in this mystical mystery person. If you need God to control your life, good for you. I don't need that. And they think it sounds like a Zen moment. Like, I am so much smarter. Then you go to their website and you see that they're promoting all sorts of drug use and, they're experts on how to dope yourself up. You're thinking, now I know what I'm dealing with. Southern Fried, that's right. We changed the name. We're now Southern Fried Patriots. This is a new logo behind me here. We're also Wolf Nation, and we're also Cornbread Nation. And I don't know what happened to my background on the TV. Did not want to show up this morning. Wanted to be a pain in the rear end. That's okay, though. That's okay. I can handle that. And it's just I was running out of time, and I didn't get it pulled up. But, well, thank you for that. So I'm the Cornbread Man because we used to, in the logo, we had a pan of cornbread. It was our early version logo. We had it for a long time. Then I'm not working with my former co-host, and I think he still uses it. I don't know. But during an interview series for another podcast, someone called me the Cornbread Man. That's where that comes from. And I am good. Thank you for asking. A little tired. It's I streamed live last night, not really meaning to, for really basically from, let's see, 8 o'clock all the way up to about 12:30-ish, somewhere in there. So that's kind of a marathon for me. Usually about 2.5 hours is max for me. So I did over 4 hours straight live last night without intentionally meaning to do it that way. That was meant to have a break. I meant to do like an hour and a half, go to another podcast, do about 45 minutes to an hour, then take a little break and then go in and do the celebration. That didn't work out that way. So I didn't go to bed until, going on, well, it was probably 2 o'clock in the morning. So back up, that's why I was dragging a little bit this morning. It was, for me, 5:40 when I got out of bed and was on by 6 o'clock. So I was moving pretty fast, but I've got it down to kind of a science. You have to bring up different streams. And I was thinking, well, I don't know if anybody will be on this early on New Year's Day, but hey, you've came in. I appreciate it. And, somebody's there, as long as somebody's there. Yeah. I sound like one of those, I sound like one of those, I'm a training manager in one of my roles in life. I have this business, but I work at a regular job at a manufacturing as a training manager, and I also do a little security, and I'm working even on something else. That's what you do, you work. But I talk to young people all the time. When I mean people that are barely out of high school, they're real young. And I've done this for several years. I will ask them how many hours they get to sleep a night. And most of them will say 3.5 to 4.5 hours a night. Occasionally you'll hear 5 or 5.5. You never hear 7 or 8. It's a rarity to hear 6. And a lot of them, they're online, or a lot of them are gaming. It's become a big thing. Good morning, Miss Sue Coates. God bless you. And I think that good morning, Cornbread. Yes. So a lot of the ones that come before me at work, they will say, I'm a gamer. I don't sleep much. So, but they're like 18, 19, 20 years old. And I'm thinking sometimes, I know it's not good for you, but like this week has been a challenge. Like, I know I haven't slept enough. But it's like I'm off. I don't know what it is. I wake up in the middle of the night and just start working, and I'll take little mini naps throughout the day, but I'm talking like not much. And so I'll have to probably over the weekend get some sleep in. Oh, hey, I could deal with that. Stephen Curry and I want to be the next president. It's okay. I could deal with it. You should always strive to be something like that. Draymond Green could be vice president. I don't know. He sounds more like Department of Defense. He likes to mix it up a little bit sometimes. So, John Cena for president. Well, yeah, he could definitely go out and bounce somebody if he needed to, He wouldn't be weak, that's for sure. He would be a striking figure behind the Resolute desk. I could see that a little bit, our enemies would think, twice about messing with a guy that's that size. Listen, this is America Strong. Yeah. This is, I'm joking, so don't take it I like to joke around. It's good to joke around, but listen, we would be like it would be good every once in a while, for our enemies to see the president be able to grab somebody up and just wear their face out and say, "Go back to your country and come back when you can have more respect." I know it's not protocol, but there's been a couple of people that's rolled into the United States, and I felt like they disrespected the country, and they disrespected the president, the office of. It doesn't matter who the president is; you don't disrespect that office. And I think it would be pretty cool every once in a while, just for the press conference to end like that, like WWF, like the president just goes over and said, "What did you say?" Okay, it's on. Oh, oh, bomb, not nuclear. Yeah, we don't need no nuclear going off. There are multiple nuclear powers in the world, and nuclear should be just energy. The threat is always there for nuclear, but we don't never need that to happen. Like, I mean, that's what's scary. You got rogue nations, and they get a hold of a bomb. And even if they only have one, it only takes one to cause chaos. I mean, who wants to see a mushroom cloud over any part of the world? Because radiation is going to affect everybody. And it's like, we've developed this weapon that we can destroy ourselves with. Now let's never use that thing. I mean, anybody, anywhere. And I know that has happened, but we just don't need that to happen. We do not need that to happen. So they like to sit on their little toys and say, well, I could blow you off the face of the planet. But then they know before your payloads get there, they're launching for you. And that supposedly is what deters that. The problem with all that scenario would be this: if you had somebody that didn't care if they lived, and they didn't care if anybody else lived, and they're just like going out of this place, ordering the buttons to be pushed. Actually, I think it's switches and keys now, but you're still doing something like that, and you're launching something that could destroy humanity. I mean, it's, if you got some nutcase like little Rocket Man over there, if he had one, he's just the kind of idiot that would use something like that, and we don't need that to happen. So, war, I don't like to see war ever come, but every once in a while you have to remind people like that, not full-fledged war, but maybe you knock out something really powerful that they have and you say, don't do it. And you have to. They don't respect anything else. So, unfortunately, that does require sometimes for us to get involved like that. And I understand that. I'm an America First guy. I don't want us out there doing crazy stuff. But every once in a while, you have to remind people that we're still the USA and we can reach you wherever you are. You think that they're exaggerated. Well, I don't want to find out. Hey, good morning to you. Like the flag. Appreciate the patriotism this morning. But I wouldn't want to see it. I would hope that we just always keep those in the silos and the missile compounds or whatever. I had a friend once who served in Germany, and his job at one point, they were attached to we'll just say nuclear ability from Germany. Now, were those actually coming out of Germany? I think so, but he wasn't clear about that, because even all those years later, he couldn't talk about it. But he told me that one time they did have a glitch in the system, and he was on duty. He was a young man in the U.S. military, and he was on duty, and they got a signal to launch. There was a message. Somehow it glitched, and it said it was telling them that their enemy had launched, and they were getting a launch procedure. And I mean, you can never be the same after that happens. They quickly they got confirmation. They said, that just can't be right. And they reached out to get confirmation. And hey, God bless you too. And it's good to see you. Yes, glory to God. Happy New Year. Blessings to you and all your family. But they got the signal, they verified it, and then they had a stand down. And he said when he come off duty, he felt like he had worked like, a month straight. His adrenaline level was up, as he was only like, I think 19 or 20 years old, 21 maybe. And he's in this compound, and he gets a launch signal for nuclear weapons. Him and others. He was not the only one. And they were like, this can't be right. It just can't be right. And so they verified, and they quickly did a stand down. But that has happened at least a handful of times throughout the last 60, 80, whatever it is, 80 years, whatever it is that we have had these things. And that you hear those stories. And it is alarming. I mean, can you imagine you're sitting on that kind of payload, and once you launch, that's it. I mean, it's, but there's a danger if you don't launch, and it really is an incoming bird or whatever you want to say, then you have, failed to defend the country. But it was like the old movie War Games, and I say old because that movie's been out, what was that, 1985 or something like that, War Games. And the system was telling them that there were launch sequences going on from all of Europe, and they waited until the northernmost, I think, Alaska Command, to see if they actually had a bomb landing, and they realized they didn't. I mean, it was a comedy in one way and serious in another, with several good actors in that movie. It was kind of quirky a little bit, but it was a good movie. It at least made you think about what would happen if this really happened. I mean, if a computer said, we've got incoming nuclear weapons, and they do redundancies on all that to make sure. But early on, there were some scares, some glitches. The only way to win is not to play. You remember that? That's right. And he was, do you think America's future is cooked? Well, I'll say it like this. Let me give a synopsis on that. In the short, long term, however how long this is, yes, we're cooked. You know why? Because in prophecy, America just does not seem to be on the scene. And the end result, before Christ's return, it's a rough looking world. If you want to read about the future of all the lands of the world, Book of Revelation, baby. I mean, the bowl judgment, the trumpet judgment, all these judgments. And I am glad I'm a believer. I'm just glad I'm a believer because I know where I'm going. But in the short term, it will probably maintain, pretty high power and standards and all that. But it doesn't look good, because once the lifting away of the church, as we call it, the catching away of the church, we're going to weaken as a nation, because America is still, even with all the problems, America is still a very evangelical nation. The numbers are still pretty high. People that claim to be, it doesn't mean they are, but claim to be a believer in God. And so a lot of people in America, I mean, they go to church, they worship, they read their Bibles, they are what we would say Christian, and they're going to be out of here one day. That's going to weaken America. So if you look into that, you're going to see stuff like that. I'm real curious about the new Axis and new allies post U.S. Yes, and how that would, how that would align itself, because, once America falls that way, and it looks to be like that's what will happen. I've heard people make arguments for American end times. I don't see it. I think they're being loose with that. But I think that, I think that you would see a rise of some nations that maybe you haven't seen before being a new Axis. That's a very good question, actually, and we haven't really discussed it to that level. But I do find that interesting. Who would be the powers? And I mean, America overnight, third world status. I mean, you lift off that kind of millions of people out of a nation that will be gone, then what's left? And look, we already see on display what kind of is going to be left, and it's not going to be pretty. Maybe it's not like a Cuba, but it's not going to be good, and will not be a military superpower anymore during that time frame. No, it won't be. So let's see here. Dave, you were over at my channel, and I'm a moderator of that, and I said, hey, and you must have not recognized me because you didn't say anything. Hey, if I didn't see, I'm sorry. I was I just missed it. I am so sorry that I did. So it wasn't on purpose. I had a guy who comes on my channel, and when I run this channel, I'm running multi-channels through StreamYard and Rumble. And I had a screen covered up because I was talking enough of it. He was making comments on that one. He thought I was ignoring him, and I apologize. So I just missed it. So Hey, Watchman. I see them now. I did the same thing. I had it covered up. So I appreciate it. And good morning, Watchman, to you. So let me uncover that. So I get to talking and I forget to check. But yeah, hey, good morning to you. And I do like like I say, the patriotism, the American flags flying. Do I see stuff happening currently that is fulfilling prophecy? The puzzle pieces are coming together. Yes, the puzzle pieces are coming together. And here's why I say that. Several things. One, we know that the Middle East it's the center of the radar of the world. You can like that or not like it. Israel is a key. It doesn't matter whether you like Israel, don't like Israel. To me, on this point, they are very involved in end time prophecy. So it is definitely, you got to pay attention to that. Secondly, Russia. Russia is very involved in end time prophecy, and they will confederate with many nations, and they'll come against Israel. That is one of the end time battles. So we kind of see this lining up. But listen, all this stuff that's happening in Ukraine, Russia's going to march up through there. You know, they got planes, sure, but they're going to march up through, right through Ukraine in the end times. That Dnieper River, they're going to come right up through that, and they're going to confederate, and they're going to come at Israel hard. That's going to happen. So I see that. I see that happening. I mean, what is the time factor? Who knows? But you can definitely see some of these things sort of coming together as we go. And I think things are running pretty fast, right? Actually, I do. You was on Patriot News Live. Cool. Awesome, man. That's cool. Yeah, morning, Watchman. We appreciate you. Man, I don't know what time you went to bed. I left that stream last night. I was up for another hour talking to my wife and my son and helping get her to bed. So it was right at 2:00, I think, before I went to bed. Another good point. I think Finland and Poland will play a part in the new allies. Sweden and Norway are likely to follow. Yes, I agree with you 100%. Many of these nations have increased their defense spending by a lot, more than they ever have before. Poland is one of those nations, and Poland is very anxious to get into the battle. There's a lot of people that are in the Polish government who want war. They're warmongers, and they've upped their game on this. So I do think there's you see that even countries like Lithuania. There's some over there. If you go over there, if you just look at what they're saying, you do start to see a lot of that. But all of those, it's shocking. Like for a long time, you just never hear anything from them, and like all of a sudden you wake up and they're spending. They're spending tons of money on tanks and different kinds of armaments. They're buying stuff from us, some of them, and from Europe allies as well, or I say allies, but people that are NATO. And they're actually getting on a war footing. So I think those are great points. And I get a shout out for everybody on the Epstein list. Well, I don't know who I was on the list, man. I've seen some names, but I don't know to what level. And could we just get all of the list fully revealed? Hey, listen, and you'll find in this chair a guy who says, I don't care who or what they are. If they have are sexual predators, pedophiles, whatever they have done, burn the mother down. I'll say it that way. It's probably not very nice of me to say, but burn them down. I don't care who they are. I will never defend. If you can prove to me, and just a picture, and some of them are manipulated, I'm not sure who's done what. I want to see a full disclosure, full release, and I don't care. I don't care. I'll promise you, I don't care. If it's the sitting president and whoever else is involved, let's prosecute to the fullest extent of the law, because it's wrong, and it's a national sin, and we've got to, there's across the world, but you'll never see justice there. But all we can do is clean up our backyard, our front yard, or whatever. I say get them. You know what? If you can prove that they were not just because they visited, that you got proof that they did something. I don't care. Now, some say it's already out there, but then I've seen stuff that's been manipulated and lied, and everybody's fighting to prove this person or that person has done something. My opinion is ain't nothing going to happen. So, you know what? This is going to be talked about when Jesus comes back. He'll settle it. So, what do I see happening with Israel and Palestine? Remember, there is no Palestine. Okay, so I get that they pump that in the media. There is no Palestine because they're not a national. They're not recognized. There's no country. There's none of this. They work under the PA, the Palestinian Authority, former PLO, and what has been in the West Bank is none of that. That's totally been ran by Hamas, and the West Bank they're just as dirty and crooked. They just like money, and there's a lot of bad actors over there. So here's what's Israel has a bad future, a bad future until the very end of the days. I mean, there's going to be war and more war through that whole region. I mean, we're talking about the Battle of Armageddon is going to be there. I mean, it's in the short run, there's going to be a lot of fighting back and forth like there always has. Israel's still going to bomb people. They're going to fight back against with terrorism. It's going to have its ugly parts. And those things are, well, of course, there's a Palestine. I don't see it that way because it's not recognized. There's not a recognition of them as an entity. All the UN resolutions that have claimed they're going to do that, it's not defined yet. They're not established. I mean, you got to have that. So even though I get what you're saying, there's not a country, a history or anything like they're not set up. They can't even agree. I mean, it's just not. I mean, anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. But if it's going to continue to be ugly, I'll just say it that way. It continues to be ugly. It's going to be ugly because that's just the nature of what we're dealing with. There's not going to be peace there until the Prince of Peace shows up. Let me just say it that way. It's a good way to sum it up. Would we be at a whole different place if we didn't have Trump in the White House? Well, without a doubt, on for many reasons, it would be different. Some some do not like some do not like the president. They don't like some of the things he's done. Hey, I don't like some of the things he's done, but he's also put some people in their place as well. And so he plays a part. All leaders play a part in what's going on in the end time prophecy and things are going to be going forward. But America, we're setting some things in place. It's all just part of the massive puzzle, the end time events that are coming, everything that's happening, him being as president. It's obvious. It's all working to bring those things together. So, but anyway, should that technically be Israeli's land? Jake says. Well, if you go all the way back to the promise to Abraham, yes, most of it. There's about 10 to 13% of the land that he was promised they're sitting on. Listen, I don't like what the government Israel does a lot of times. I don't agree with them. They're not Christian. It is what it is. But there's 22 nations that surround them, and they want to do bad things as well. So, listen, I'm a big believer. You can't cover up evil intent, by claiming this or because this person done this. You can't say that. I'm not going to defend terrorism. I won't defend that. What I will say is that the government is done a lot of things they shouldn't do, but also there's there've been certainly those that would destroy Israel and not even think twice about it, and all the people there. I'm not for genocide. I never have, and never will be. And so I never paint that total brush over a group of people. And I catch heat for that. I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm a Christian, and I want to see souls saved. But we're looking at the realities of, not everybody's going to be, and what governments do and the actions they take, which are evil, and the killing of people, the killing of people in the name of, bad. I mean, we've done some things as the United States in previous that we went heavy, and I don't, it's bad. I mean, but that's what happens. That's why when you beat the drums of war, and war happens, a lot of people are like, let's just go bomb somebody. Well, there's people there. There's good people. They're just people. They just live their life. They're not a part of some super cult. People living their life every day. They're just working, and they may have a bad ideology. They may not be a Christian. But they're working. They're raising a family, and they're not looking to have bombs dropped on their head. And that happens everywhere. So when we go do that, we're doing that towards governments and leaders. There's collateral damages is that people just like me that are just trying to raise a family and do good things, they're going to die, and a lot of them are going to die. I don't ever applaud that. I'm never going to applaud that. And the whole wipe these people off the face of the planet mentality, I will never be a part of. And Listen, I get it, Watchman. I understand all of that, but you're still talking about a people and a land that God is going to be very concerned with in the end times. And again, that is the radar center of the world. No matter what this government or people or does in the world, and there's a lot of that. I get all that, but that is going to be the center of prophecy right there. And that's not the Rothschilds or anybody. That is God in His Word saying what He's going to do there, and it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. And if Jesus did not return, does not return at that time, I mean, there would be nothing left. That's how bad it's going to be. And I'll just say, listen, our job is to be, as Christians, is to be what? We're to be witnesses. We're to take the gospel in all the world, starting at our Jerusalem, which is where I live. I live in Georgia. My little town here, that's my Jerusalem. And then Judea and Samaria. I can say this, the state, my little area, then the state, then the world. And I'm going to witness to anybody that is living, has a soul. And listen, my ministry, and this is what's amazing about it. I don't know, Watchman, if you've ever really picked up on this. And the podcast, I don't talk about it a whole lot, but my ministry, what I've been involved with, has a burden for has been to take the gospel to the Jewish people of this world. That's why you hear me talk about being on the streets of Atlanta, witnessing. I was in Jewish neighborhoods. I was working right down the street from synagogues, and I was going door to door and talking to people on the street and getting the gospel into their hands. That was we preached to everybody, Jew and Gentile. But we definitely were taking that. When I went to Mexico City, what were we doing? We were going into Jewish neighborhoods, and we were witnessing to the Abraham, Isaacs, Davids, Moseses of the world, because they still use the same names. And so I have a great heart for the Jewish people to be saved, to be born again. And we have seen successes, and they are now followers of the Lord Jesus Christ. This is my brothers and sisters in Christ. They don't have anything to do with what Israel's doing. In fact, they would tell you they don't like that. But the gospel is for all, and for America, we've got wicked stuff going in our government. We've got people that are done bad things and really horrible things. I pray for my nation, and our mission field is America. Our mission field is America, and we're to take the gospel to those people. And let me tell you this: when I first started, when I was not in church for a long time. Like, I had been born again, but I got away. I'm not bragging on that. That's not a brag. That's my failure. But I can't fix yesterday's. All I can do is correct and move forward. So for the last 30 years, though, I've been serving, the Lord Jesus in a hope. Listen, you'll never be perfect. I'm not perfect, far from it. But in my reading of scriptures, God just buried deep within my heart a love for Jewish people and wanting to witness them. I got called so many names. I got treated by Christians like they thought I had three heads, man. Like, what are you doing? My own pastor told me that Jewish people could not be saved. My own pastor. He said they had their chance, they blew it. And I said, the gospel's for everybody. And so I had to fight through a lot of stuff. He's a good man. I'm not putting him down. He had to misunderstand it. And anybody that's living and breathing can be born again, and anybody can become a believer in Christ. I don't care what they are. Listen, if the blood of Jesus is that powerful that it can save us from whatever we are. And if it's not powerful like that, then I'm not a part of it, because then He wouldn't be God. And God is that powerful. And so this has got nothing to do with governments. This has to do with people. And I've seen it save the wretched, sinner like me out of their sins, whether it was, whatever that sin is. But if you want to say, some people like to use extremes, like the alcoholic, the drug user, the whatever they are. Today, we may not like what somebody who's in Islam or whatever. Listen, I've witnessed those. I've seen those people come to faith. Whoever they are, the gospel is for everybody. That's another issue from governments and what they do and the bad that they do. And all governments on the planet have done bad at times. I mean, the British have done bad. We've done bad. Israel's done bad. Certainly many of these Middle Eastern Arab countries have done bad things around the world. State sponsors of terrorism like Iran or others, Russia, China. I mean, you could just go all around the world. Show me a nation that is, perfectly clean and has never done bad. You know why? Because the total depravity of man, depravity of man, we're just not good. The only good that is within us is when we become a believer in Jesus Christ. We may be doing some things, certainly, but spiritually, everything we are is no good unless we're a believer in a follower of Jesus Christ. But in doing that, and listen, in the Arab world, the reports are all over and has been for years. There are massive amounts of people coming to Christ in countries like Egypt and Iran, yes, and other places. It is estimated, and I've heard this number for years, 250,000 Arabs a month around the world are coming to faith in Christ. They don't talk about it a whole lot because it's certain death. Get your head chopped off. I've got friends that minister in Indonesia. In Indonesia, it is illegal to have a Bible. It is illegal to have a church service. It could be death to convert somebody. So I asked a guy, I said, how do you witness in Indonesia? They said, very carefully. But it's the same way. His wife does medical, she does some medical stuff. She has some medical training. She helps people that are sick and need help and all that. He's kind of a fixer-upper kind of guy. So he works on people's cars, and, they get in really close with people. And at some point, they take when they feel like God is, they take that time to share the gospel. If they go and tell anybody, they could be arrested and or killed for converting someone. And it's illegal in a lot of nations to convert someone out of whatever the state religion is to Christianity. And you can be killed for that. But good men go, the Isaiah, here am I, Lord, send me. They get the call, they go. And I've been threatened, I've been threatened with the gospel for preaching the gospel, sharing the gospel, in places here in America. It's going to get like that more and more. But listen, what governments do. But people need Jesus. I think if we can't agree on that, then we got a problem. People need Jesus. And yes, we need to clean up our own country. There are a number of terrorists in this country that are because of the last. Yes, there are terrorists within our nation. They're taking time bombs. And I think they're starting to answer that call, to cause great harm. But yes, and I will say, when that pressure comes, listen, there was somebody went to China one time. They were taking Bibles. They snuck them in, and they told some of the Christians on the ground in China. They said, "We will pray for the persecution to stop." And this is what they told them. They said, "Don't do it," because they said, "Listen, America needs a revival." This is what they said, and we do. America needs revival. And what they said is, "Don't go back and preach for that." He said, "Because of the persecution, revival has come to China." And so even we look at this country that we're going to war, maybe going to war with. Who knows? I have people say it's not going to happen. I don't know. But certainly there's a lot of talk right now about potential military intervention with Taiwan. Whatever. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but if it happens, it would happen. I can't stop it. I can't change it. All I can do is pray about it. But there are people on the ground. I've got friends that are on the ground ministering in China. They go to Taiwan first. They're really working their Chinese and all that. Then they get over into China, and they're all over that vast place, preaching the gospel and bringing people to Christ within China. I've got friends right now, some of them out of Dawsonville, Georgia. There's a church there that I was able to be at, and they're a big sponsor of some of them. But they're in China right now, witnessing and sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. You'll find them in every country. That's what we're to do. Sadly, America is not the leader in sending missionaries anymore. There are a lot of people, a lot of countries that are ahead of that. The last time I looked, South Korea was. And listen, South Korea's got its issues, but there's a lot of Christians in South Korea got a burden for the world. I can tell you then the Philippines, they have a lot of problems. They've got Islamic persecution, especially in the southern part, some of the islands. They're battling, which most countries do, in Philippines. And I saw a guy the other day. I'll just take a quick run here at this. he is moving to the Philippines. And he was telling people that he was telling people where to go if you want to retire to the Philippines, how much it would cost you a month versus living here or living there. And it's like years ago, people were retiring to Mexico, but due to violence and stuff, there are some places in the Philippines, and for about $1,500 a month, you can live very well. So he was saying, I'm retiring to the Philippines. I don't know if I'd want to be there, but anyway, in the Philippines, these little churches, little bitty churches, are very big on Jewish missions, and they are sending their nickels and pennies and all that to mission outreaches that they have a great burden for seeing Jewish people saved in Israel, and they support that a lot. And I've seen some. There's a lot of work that's happening in the Philippines. A lot of people need to be saved, but there's a lot of good things happening there as well. But I know a number of missionaries who are, some are from there, native, some are from here, and they go down there. So, but well, it's okay. You had your little. Could you say bye? Because that's where you're going. See ya. But yeah, it's a blessing, and so we have to look at it from kind of how God's using it. We got to pull ourselves back to the 60,000 foot view, and we get locked into this. It's really easy. And I get angry too. And I look at the anger of what some nations are doing. It makes me very angry, but we got to pull back and we got to see this view that God has of the world. And you can see his hand upon many things that are happening as he is reaching out and pulling those pieces together for the end times. And back to the original part of that, it's a good question. The original part of that, you can see those things. Well, you know what? I get it, Watchman. But do we think that that's any different than it was in the Bible? Do we think that was any different when Paul, who was Jewish, but we think that he didn't get spit on or he didn't get done? I mean, he still went to his people. He was a light to the Gentiles. But he still always went into a city, and he went to the temple or synagogue or whatever, the synagogue, and he witnessed for Christ all the way to the very end. I mean, sure, that's going to happen. Sure. It's ugly. When you go into Jerusalem and you're dealing with the very Orthodox, it can get ugly very quickly. Absolutely. And yes, it is, Watchman. It is. But do we not go because it's illegal? No, we go. We have to be wise in how we do it. We have to be. You really have to look through it from their eyes and think about. There's a great book, Dr. Jacob Gartenhouse, who lived here in the Chattanooga area for many years, and he lived in Atlanta. He wrote a book, How to Win Jews to Christ, and it's a great book. And I'm not saying take it over the Bible or nothing like that. It was just his experiences as a Jewish man that come to faith in Christ. And he come to faith in Christ on a park bench, or I believe it was, or his brother, if I remember right, led him to the Lord. But anyway, he came to America to make his riches. He lived his life. He never seen a Gentile until he was a young boy. He got sick on a poison he accidentally ingested and had to go to a Gentile hospital. He'd never met Gentiles. He was scared of them. He didn't know. And he came to America and worked in hats back around the turn of the century. And people stopped wearing hats, women's hats and stuff like they did, and men as well. And so he found a new one. But anyway, he got saved, and he became part of the Southern Baptist Convention in Atlanta. He helped lead great crusades down there. And then later came to Chattanooga. He's been dead since about 1986. It was about the time my first son was being born. He passed from this life. And he would go into churches, and he would tell churches this. He would say, he says in the scriptures, it says to the Jew first and also to the Greek. He said, if you're not going to make it to the Jew first, at least make it to the Jew last, but don't leave them out. And a lot of people think that they don't get saved. I know many. There's not as many of them in the world. If you go into a huge meeting and there's 1,000 people there, you're going to have a handful of hands go up that say they are Jewish, but they are born again. It's not a high number because there's not as many of them in the world. But the gospel is for everybody. The gospel, and if it's not, then why would I want it? So separate the two. What And what people do in their own religion, it's all for Satan, because it's not of Christ. It's not Christian. It's not, it's not biblical. It's not those things. So but what Jesus did he say on the cross? Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Ignorance, blindness, spiritual blindness, whatever. I don't have to like what they do, but I can still have a love for their soul. And so I have that. So to say I've dealt with it. I've dealt with that. My Biscuit Boy, who is my partner on a couple of shows, he's on vacation, should be coming back in. Have I ever read it? Portions of it, yeah. Hey, I've been to services and all, because that was part of, I wanted to immerse myself in, and I've seen not everything, but listen, I've seen the ugly. I know what's there. But at the same token, I've read the Quran too. So I do my research, just not to that level. I don't want to know it inside and out. I don't need to know it inside and out. Evil is evil is evil. And anything that is not of Christ is worthless. I mean, it's not worth the paper it's printed on or whatever. But it does help me to understand the way or why people what they believe in. I mean, there's some ugly, what do they call it? The all vows. They renounce all vows. That's a dark thing. I've actually they wouldn't let me in, but we were at the table or the greeting table, the desk there on one of them in Atlanta. I won't say which one, but we were not allowed in. I was there with a missionary from who's spent 15 years in Israel and got kicked out and could never go back. We worked the streets of Atlanta quite a bit, so I have through research, I have researched a lot of those things, but that really it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Lost is lost is lost, and I'm going to witness to people. I was on the streets of Atlanta. I was witnessing to some young Jewish people that were come walking to the synagogue, and I was talking to these two young guys. They were kind of cocky, and the guy was talking down to me, like I didn't know what I was talking about, and I just used his cockiness against him, and I got him to admit that he was a sinner, and where do sinners go? And he had at least an idea, a concept of that, a separation, but he believed that you could be prayed out of that after death and blah, 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 blah. And all I said was to him, I said, can you show me that in the scriptures? Can you show me that in the scriptures? Are you wrong for being skeptical? I would just say that we tend to question everything. I can just tell you that it's truth. Making sure that we have a good copy, because there are some corrupted copies out there, my friend. But definitely, listen, just have God reveal that to you. And, because I listen, I think we've all been questioning of that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think it sounds like you're on a search, Jake. You're on a search. And I think we've all done that. When I was, let me get back to my story real quick, and I will answer that more thoroughly. But he could not find that. Obviously, I knew he couldn't. So I said, "Can you show?" I played really dumb, like, "Hey," because I couldn't come at it like I'm trying to tell you as a Jewish person about your religion. So I would have him answer questions, and then he was so eager, and his friends said, "Tell him where we'll go. We'd go to hell." I mean, that's what he said. I said, "Well, how do you get out?" He said, "The prayers of our people." And I said, "Can you show me that in the scriptures? Can you show me that in the Bible?" And I had a Hebrew English New Testament. Actually, I had the whole Bible. I had a Tanakh. I had the whole thing. I had it all together. But I said, "Can you show me that in the scriptures?" And I knew he couldn't, and he hesitated. And about that time, a bunch of people came by and said, "Hey, we're going to be late. Let's go." And he looked back at me, and I said, "Remember." And I pointed, and he shook his head and went on. So you plant the seed. Watchman, Kabbalah, Zohar, Safad over in Israel. It's all dark spirits, dark magic, all that stuff. It's ugly. It is a mystical system. It's horrible. But listen, they don't know Jesus. They don't know Christ. But I was going to go back to Jake's post there, and I'm sorry I've missed some chats. I'm just by myself. Sometimes I'm just going through. I try to put my thoughts together, so I'm not ignoring you if I've missed your post or anything. But I think we all have questions. When I went back to church, I was amazed at my Bible illiteracy. I thought from my youth as growing up in the church and becoming a believer, I really thought I knew more than I did. So I get with the young man. He thinks he knows more, and he does. I get that. And I realized, man, and I went into a deep dive. I mean, I read the Bible through. I started from Genesis, went to Revelation, and then started deeper studies, sideways studies, inside this way, that way, book by book, topic by topic. And I just did all that. And I was just trying to learn. And I sat through, I love Sunday school because we dive deeper. I would ask questions of preachers, evangelists, missionaries, people that had been in the church a long time. I would sit and ask these questions. Sometimes I didn't get the answer I wanted. I thought that don't seem right. And sometimes I think they just didn't understand. It's like my pastor when he said Jewish people can't be saved. I thought that's not right, but I didn't tell him. I didn't question him to his face and say you're wrong. Or that wasn't my intent. My intent was just to find truth. And so I thought that don't sound right. So I just kept reading the Bible. I kept reading the Bible. I kept praying. I asked God to show me. And at the end of the day, we'll probably all have some things wrong that we thought we really had a concept down, and I'm sure I will. But let God be true and let every man a liar, let every man be a liar. I'm just going to keep going back to the Word. So I'm not saying it's wrong to question. I'm saying is find that truth in it for you, and it will reveal itself to you. It's like when you're leading somebody to Christ, show them the Word. It's not, my words don't mean anything. Show them the Word. Take them in the Bible and show them the Scriptures, and and then that's the work of God. I mean, all we can do is let people find their way, and not everybody's going to believe. But again, and I'm not going to get into predestination, there are people that believe that only certain people can be saved. They're true. There's only certain people that's going to be saved. But here's the deal. I don't know who they are. I'm going to spread the word and the seed to everybody. And on a few, it's going to, well, more than a few, it's a great number, really. But I don't know who's the ones that are not are. And the ones, if it was me, the ones I've seen come to faith, there are a lot of people I thought, man, they'd make a great Christian if they'd only get saved, be born again. To this day, they never have. Maybe they will. The ones I thought, they're rough. They ain't never going to believe. Man, they are on fire, and they're doing, well, sure, Watchmen. Why wouldn't they? I mean, because that's what they believe, right? So when I went in the service, I actually, I'll tell you, I don't mind. And I'm not saying you have to go do it, but I was networking, I was making connection, and I wanted to see how things work. So I contacted, it wasn't Orthodox. They would never let me in the door. It was oh man, I'm trying to remember what branch they were. Anyway, I contacted the rabbi by email, and I told him who I was, my name, and I wanted to come. And he was a cocky. He's retired now. I don't even know if he's still living. He was kind of cocky about it, but he said, everybody's welcome. Certainly you're welcome, sir. He said, what I would ask you to do is not share your Bible beliefs with my congregation, which at that place in there, I wasn't going to do it. He said, and I wouldn't agree to this, what you learn, don't take to use to try to convert Jewish people. I didn't agree to that, and I never did. So I went to a service there, and I wanted to, see. It was a typical service. It wasn't a high holy day, which as a Gentile would never be allowed in on a high holy day anyway, because they only have so many seats. They have to buy those seats. But I went on a Saturday morning, and I got to see the Torah brought out, and they marched that around, all the things, the sermon, the cantor, all that stuff. I sit there, and we were in the book of Isaiah that morning. And if you've never been, and if you've never looked at a Jewish Bible, the Bible part they ignore. I mean, they really do. They look at the commentary. It's all about the commentary. So we were actually in Isaiah 40, believe it or not, Isaiah 40. And I went, wow, okay. And Psalms. We went to Psalms that morning too. But the rabbi instructed the people to read the commentary and not the scriptures. Hence, here is the problem. So they were reading the commentary. I read the commentary, which didn't have anything to do with the scriptures at all. Nothing. So they're being purposely led away from that. And honestly, it broke my heart. Here I was, and I thought, how sad is it that these people who were very kind to me, they came up and actually they said, "Are you kin to Dr. Cordell?" I said, "I don't think so," but I was treated with a lot of respect, and they they said, "Hey, come back." They were nice people. They're just lost, and I could have done the same at other places. I could have went across town and went to all kinds of places, but my ministry was to the Jewish people and to everybody. But I was doing research, and so I went there with the intention just to learn a little bit more about how those things work because I thought it might be helpful to me to that. And hey, the Bible, every time they went into a city, they they went to the synagogue. I've got missionary friends. They preach across the street from the synagogue. They've been attacked, they've been threatened, they've been whatever. They've also led people to Christ throughout France, Israel, just about any nation. I've got friends that have been in them, and that's their ministry. Or I've got friends their ministry is to people in Egypt or wherever. I mean, Russia. I've got friends that I know. Ukraine. I've got friends that are missionaries to Ukraine, and friends that are missionaries to wherever. I mean, we send missionaries to every nation on the face of the planet. And Australia is a very dark place spiritually, very, very dark. All of Europe is a very dark spiritual place. They don't go to church anymore. These big cathedrals and stuff, they can hold thousands of people. They may be 100 people going there. The world is turning darker. The light is being dim, but the gospel's still powerful. And while there's still time and there's breath in somebody's lungs, we've got to take the gospel and witness to these people and whoever they are. And so take the politics out of it for me. I can differentiate between the two. I can see all the evil that's going on, yes. But as a Christian, my job and my ministry, I say job, but it's our ministry to take the gospel to the world. I mean, that is the Great Commission. And so that's all I'm going to do. So when I stop somebody on the street, hey, listen, I don't ask them, I just ask them the question, are you, do you know Christ? And we start from that, so I don't waste a lot of time. I'm not beating around the bush. I'm not going to tell them. I never pretended to be something I wasn't. I never pretended to be, yeah, I get it, Watchman. Like I said, bad things happen. I feel for those people because you know what? They're going to hell. They're in hell. But at the same time, the same guy that dropped the bomb, I want to see him saved as well. You know what I mean? I mean, it's evil does evil things. War brings out bad. They're not Christian. But I can tell you that you got to be careful because I've talked to people that have been in regimes. They were part of regimes and they were Christian and they were trying not to die. They were under threat. They did, they were trying, how can I be a good Christian and be living in this? And so we never know. I've got a friend who was born in Israel. She was led to Christ by the Sea of Galilee by an American missionary. She hid from her parents this fact. She is the only one in her family to ever become a Christian. She used to hide under her covers with a flashlight and read the Bible and was afraid her mother was going to find out. The day that they found out that she was a Christian, her father said, kids, what do you do? The mom wept and said, I can't believe you turned against the family, our people like this. To this day, they're not saved. She moved to America for a long time. She used to translate tracts from English into into Hebrew. That was her. She served in the IDF as an intelligence. Every Jewish person has to serve in the IDF, except for some of the Orthodox who get a pass. That is beginning to change. And so, yeah, sure, it's evil. It's absolutely evil. But we got to witness to those same evil people in the power of the Word of God and the Holy Spirit and try to lead them to Christ. So certainly it's evil. Absolutely it's evil. But we got to have a burden for souls. So she comes to America and she was here for a number of years. She is now back in Israel with her husband, and they are sharing the gospel in the communities. I don't remember which community they're living in now. Some of my friends have gotten kicked out. They can't go back. She's a citizen, so she can return. and because he is American Gentile, but he gets to go because of her citizenship, and being a female is very powerful anyway. So I won't give their names, but they're ministering. They've been back for a number of years now. But hey, listen. So I can work these two tracks. I can look and say, yeah, heck yeah, this is all evil. I don't want that evil in my country. Who would want that? But at the same time, I'm thinking, you know what? All these people that came over the border, I want them out of here. But while they're here, the ones that are illegal, they've came over. But while they're here, and I can tell you, there are Christians that are on the border, and they're trying to get the word of God into their hands. You don't hear about that, and they've been threatened by their own government for what they're doing. Who cares? We're going to be threatened to take the gospel into those people. But in God's work, wouldn't He want us to take the gospel to people that come to our nation? We got missionaries in Burkina Faso. In Burkina Faso, the French have been kicked out. The Russians have moved in, and there is Islamic persecution in north of the country, and refugees are flooding into the southern parts of the nation. We've got missionaries that are on the ground. They have started schools and churches, and this is amazing. There is Islamic kids that are in the Christian school. While they're there, they said they'll give them a good education. They've been able to lead some of these to Christ. They're now ministering to their parents. This is the kind of thing that goes on through Islamic persecution. These refugees flooded down south, and they're in perfect position. God has already got these people in position to help with medical needs, food, education, and yes, getting the gospel into their hand. So we got to look at opportunities. When we first went to Iraq, hey, I know military men who did live streams from the area of Babylon, the ruins. They preached from there in front of thousands of military men, and it was live streamed back to my town that I live in, because they served in that church, but they were also attached to the military. They got called up as part of the National Guard. They were taken into Iraq, and they were witnessing and holding meetings while they were there. They were asking for more Bibles and stuff. And back at that time, our own military burned Bibles. Our military. They considered that to be an affront to those people. And it was a huge, I don't know if you ever heard about that. It was a huge issue. Our military people Christian military got really mad, and people had sent all these Bibles of them. I mean, containers of them, and they were burned because they said, we can't do that. We're here to do our mission. We can't be doing that. Bibles still got into the land, but that happened. But they said, listen, while I'm here, I'm fighting for America. Whether you agree with me should have been there or not, there were military men who were Christian, and they were witnessing to the people in the land. That's what we should do. Wherever we go, we take the gospel to the world. I may not like the operation of what's going on. I may not like what's here in America, but I'm going to take the gospel to those that I'm around. I've been threatened before taking the gospel to here in America, in my little town. We've had threats. I'm going to tell you what, I told them straight. I'm here. I'm on a mission from God. You strike me down, I'm going home, if that's what you want to do. But I'm telling you, I will continue to do what I serve God first. We say America first, and I do understand that, because I believe in taking care of America. But let me tell you what, I'm a Christian first. You know what? It is way above America. My mission for my citizenship of heaven is way above my citizenship to America. And I take my citizenship to America very seriously. I'm very involved as a citizen. I vote. I help in elections. I'm trying to be the best citizen I can in America. And I'm calling out the bad wherever I see it. But my citizenship in heaven is much more important than that. And if that makes somebody mad, I don't really care. I'm a Christian first. And I'm going to minister to people, whoever comes across my path, because that, to me, that's divine appointment. However they got here, whoever they are. My first question is not, are you a citizen? My first question is, do you know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? We'll start there. And yes, I believe in deporting all those that shouldn't be here out of here. But while they're here, we have a responsibility as a children of God to take the gospel and share with them, to get them the word of God, to witness to them, to pray with them, to show them the love of Jesus. Where were we ever supposed to put our love aside? And I never see that in the scriptures where I'm supposed to not care about people, that I'm not supposed to care about their soul. I don't find that, but I am going to be, I'm going to be a person to serve Jesus Christ first. He is first in my life. Am I a failure? Absolutely, I fail, but I am going to serve Him first. America's not going to get me to heaven. It's great to be an American. It's great to be a citizen. I love this land. I'm very patriotic, but I cannot, being the citizen of the United States of America, being a conservative, being a Republican, being whatever you want to say, that's not getting me to heaven. It may be important, but it's not getting me to heaven. The only way I get to heaven is through Jesus Christ. He is the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto me, unto the Father, but by me. I'll leave it at that. Enjoyed the discussion. I went longer than I meant to. I missed a lot of chats. We may agree, we may disagree. I will just say I love you all. And it's Jesus first for me, and then everything else. My mission statement starts with Jesus. I think everybody should have a mission statement. And my church is not second on the list, by the way. My family is. My family is. It is God, it is Christ, and it is my family. My wife, my children, my grandchildren. Those are my first two. I don't put anything ahead of those. They're very important. I have my list, you have yours, but that for me, that is the first two. My love of God, and then the love of family, my family, and it goes from there. So it might be different, a little different for you than it is for me, but it is my ministry. My love is for God first, and so Jesus is he is my Savior. Thank you, and y'all have a blessed day. And Jake, I missed your question. I'm sorry, man. Blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to see what you put. Is there only one way to interpret the Bible, and how do you make sure you don't interpret it incorrectly? Well, that's through study, brother. When you study, you got to understand the context. Always remember what, when, how, where. Put everything in proper context and in the time frame. Got to be really very clear about Old Testament, New Testament. Got to understand it's all for our benefit but you got to understand. Some people take Old Testament. Some say First Covenant, whatever. You got to have it in the proper context of what was going on and what we're living in the New Testament. You'll hear the expression New Testament Christians, because that is what we are. That was written for our benefit as Christians. The other is beneficial. Absolutely, it's the Word of God. But we're not running around chopping people's hands off like some would do. Just to give you an extreme example. So, you want a further discussion? Email me. I'll be glad to talk to you about it. You can email me at sfppodcasting@gmail.com or wolfnation26@yahoo.com. Those are a couple. Yeah, God bless you. Have a good year this year. Watchman, I agree with that. Stolen Catalytic Converter, have a blessed day. Thank you for that. Appreciate that, and would be glad to continue the discussion. And listen, don't take anything I said does not mean that I'm not I have a great love for America. My patriotism is off the charts. I love this land. I love America. I will stand for it. If the invaders come at our nation from the inside, I will be there, weapon in hand, defending this nation. I will lay down my life to protect the freedoms I have. Absolutely. I will protect my family. I love this land. I don't like the evil that goes on. I don't like what's happened. It makes me angry as an American. So listen, just because I said those things does not mean that I don't. Some people misinterpret all that. No, I'm very patriotic. I love this land, and I look at all the graves that are laying in grave. The soldiers are laying in graves across Europe and everywhere else that have died to protect the right to be to protect our freedom, and they died for that. And they spit on our graves over there. Some of them do, not everybody, but a lot of people hate that they're buried there. You know what? Tough. I think we ought to claim it. I think anywhere American soldiers have spilled blood, we are just claim it. It's American land now. So whatever. So, um, I say, oh, the Jews, but worship Jews' name. Yeah, I'm just trying to catch up, man. So if I missed you, it's it's a challenge to stay in chat and stay in thoughts and stuff like that. So I do miss some stuff, not intentional, not meaning to, but I do want to say God loves you, I love you, and I mean that. And yeah, howdy. Jesus before family, really? Don't you think that Jesus would understand? It's God first. He said to put God first. Put God first. So listen, I get it. I understand what you're saying, but God is first in my life. Because listen, we're not talking like the families in the back 40, okay? We're all serving Christ first, but he will. I serve him. He's the one that saved me, and he's the one I serve. But in doing that, God would want me to take care of my family and love my family. Don't misinterpret that as like I'm putting them back on a shelf. My family is right there. And then, I just said family is there, but Jesus has to be first. Nobody's before him. But anyway, all right. It's good discussion. I applaud the discussion. I don't get mad. There are some people who get mad at when you disagree. I don't get mad. It's a disagreement, but I love you all. And the only ones that I kick out of here are the ones that are coming in being ugly and saying very ugly things in a personal way. I actually don't like doing it, but I've had to ban 2 from the podcast this morning, but they were coming in being ugly and saying nasty things. I won't put up with that, and that's fine. But at the same time, man, I want to witness to them. I pray for them. I want them to be, man, I want good things for all people, man. I do. I don't hate anybody. I just try to the love of Jesus in my heart for everybody. Doesn't mean I don't get mad at people. Sure, I'm human. But truest statement said today. I have fun with that. Dean loves to give me a hard time. Wasn't lying. I do feel that way, but I may have exaggerated it just a little bit for the sake of having fun. So yeah, on the tube, Watchman. What does that mean? On the tube, on YouTube? What do you mean there? I'm just trying to catch what you're saying. So I do got to go. I got to go help my wife get out of bed. Again, family. I'm going to go help my wife who's had some health problems, and she needs help. So I'm trying to let her rest a little bit later anyway. She was up late, and but I got to go start. I try to get people being ugly. They said, you probably didn't see. Oh, yeah, it was. I get what you're saying now. They were on YouTube. That's not a shot at YouTube. But we had 2 come in this morning. They said very ugly, nasty things. And they're doing it to get a rise out of me. I'm not offended. You know what? Because that same person, I'm going to tell you, that same person that does that, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to them. Yeah, hey, Erwin, God bless you, man. I don't know if you're a Christian or not. And you don't have to be a Christian to come here. I'm not suggesting that. I love everybody. I just want to see people go to heaven. But whatever you are, come here, treat people with respect, as that's universal, and we can agree to disagree on things. That's fine. I'm not asking you. Listen, don't follow me. Follow the Lord. Don't follow Dave. You follow Dave, you're going to the ditch. But that same person, Watchman, who comes in and says that, you know what's going to happen, man? They're going to get saved. I'll probably be a preacher later on. And they're going to look back and they'll be going, oh, man, I can't believe I did that. But to be under the blood, right? And for me, I have those moments. I've said some stupid, nasty, ugly things in my youth. I look back and I'm like, oh, man, I feel so, I wish I could go back and fix it, but I can't. So, yeah, they do it to get a rise out of me. They're bouncing from podcast to podcast, and they're saying nasty words, saying nasty sexual things and whatever, or mocking me or mocking somebody in the chat, or sometimes just like a machine gun. They're just trashing everybody, trying to see who all they can intimidate and make mad, and they laugh and they go on, they do it the next one. But for that moment, they hear me. for that moment, even though they came by to do that, they heard me say something that maybe will plant the seed in their heart. Because listen, if God, they can't hide from it. They can't run from it. Yeah, they do need the right hand of fellowship. You're right. You're right, brother. Thank you. Listen, I'm a failure. I feel like one of those people at AA. I'm Dave. I'm alcoholic. I'm not alcoholic, but like Dave, I'm a sinner. I am not on some platform. I'm not on some pedestal. And I am not ever going to say that I think I'm the smartest person in the room or nothing like that, because I'm not. I'm very plain. I'm a simple guy. I don't think I know everything, because I don't, but I will always defer to the scriptures. And I'm always willing to, if I got something wrong, I will adjust that if I know that I've missed the mark. I don't have no ego that way. I don't have an ego. Maybe everybody says they have some ego. I don't. I'm very hard on myself. I'm an analyst. I analyze everything, and I will analyze my words and my actions for months and even years afterward. It's why I have a problem going to sleep. I constantly analyze stuff. And the question is, what is truth? Well, everybody says this is the truth. Dave, you need to study this. You need to read this. You need to watch this. And I'm willing to listen to all of that. But the truth that I know is that I know that Jesus Christ came in flesh, in human form, God with us, Emmanuel. I know that. And I know that he died on a tree, that wicked, cursed tree, for my sins. I know that. And I know that Jesus lives. I know that. And I'm the smartest person in the room when there is no one else in the room. Hey, hallelujah. I like that. I'll use that. But everything I say is not meant to be. Sometimes people misinterpret me, because when I'm really concentrating, I look like I'm mad. And even James said one night, he said, Dave, you got mad at me. And I said, no, man, I ain't never been mad at you. And he said, well, one night, and he brought up the night, and I said, I wasn't mad that night. And I told him backstory off the screen, what was really going on. And he goes, oh, I didn't know that. That's old stuff. Because I'm that way. Oh, I don't want to get in trouble here. Because I'm that way, I have taken a lot of heat. A lot of heat. Because of my friendships with certain people. I've been hit pretty hard. I will not change. I will not change. And it's because of, I have a love for people, and I will try my best to always keep people within the conversation if I can. Sometimes you can't, because I don't want people to get hurt and I have to kick them out. But this is not a podcast where I'm asking anybody to come in and us all agree on everything. I'm here for, I don't know why I'm here for some reasons. Some reasons I wonder why did I do all this? And some people, listen, my Christian friends, they're probably sitting there going, why is he not preaching every day? Why is he not? Because it's not a ministry podcast. And some people don't understand that. Then other people, well, why do you put up with this? Or why do you listen to this person? Or why? So in that way, it is a mission. It is a mission field. It is, because the world comes to you in this wonderful, crazy, could be good, could be bad internet world. People come by that I would never be able to talk to if I didn't have this. And I am grateful for that. And I have talked to people in Russia and South Africa and India and France. I've talked to people that are Hindu, Islam, Christian, Jewish. I mean, the list goes on and on. People that don't believe in God, hate God, people that I don't know what they are, people that are nice, people that are ugly, people that are condescending, people that call me fat, people that, why do I put up with it? I don't know. I love it. I love doing it. And I try to just create programs I think will be interesting. First of all, I've got to lock them. If I don't lock them, I'm not going to do them. I've got people, like, what is your podcast? I'm like, heck far, I don't know. And they say, well, most people assume I have a church podcast. I said, well, I do share the gospel, but it's not, I've had those. It's not a straight presentation of the gospel every day. Listen, I like to talk about pets. I like to talk about history, music. We just did that last night. I like to talk about politics. I like to talk about different things. I have different interests. And so I just try to explore all those things. And there's a lot of things I don't know. I never said I'm an expert at anything because I'm not. I just try to create something that's interesting. We have a discussion about it. And maybe we walk away with understanding each other a little bit more, and we become friends. And it's not a prerequisite at all to be in the podcast. You don't have to be something. I would just say respect, treat people with respect. And certainly you can disagree, and I'm all here for that. Just don't make it personal. Dave's Fun Time Hour. Me and Watchman, I'd consider Watchman a friend. I've never met Watchman. I talked to him on the phone. Do me and Watchman agree on everything? No. But I do. We have a general like of a lot of things. And the one thing we do like the same for sure is Jesus. We both got a story. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got, their life is unique. And his life is unique. My life's unique. Does Watchman agree with everything I say? No. Do I agree with everything Watchman says? No. But it's not a separator for me. It's not a separator. I read it. I evaluate how I feel about it. Sometimes I'm in the moment. I can't even, it's not like I can say, hey, folks, stop, Ola, time out. I'm going to go research this right now. I don't have that option. I'm doing the show. But I do go and look at stuff. I read stuff. I'm constantly learning. I try to learn. There are some things that people have researched a lot more than me. And I try to look at listen, if you look at the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all of them came from a different direction, and they were all addressing different people groups. So it's a different look at every gospel in same situations. And I think all of us are kind of like that. We come at things from a different direction, and we all learn together. And when Paul went into cities, he was learning as well as teaching. I mean, he was a smart guy, but he would exchange stories, ideas, and he would listen. If the only thing I hate about being a podcaster, if I had to say there's one thing I hate, is that if I'm the only one on here that people can hear, I can't be quiet. I like to listen. So I'm trying to read, I'm trying to catch certain things, and then I'll make notes and I'll go look at stuff later, try to, and then maybe the next program, we might dive into that or whatever. And everything can become a talking point, which is great for podcasts. But I can't listen because I'm the one that's hosting the show. So I can't sit back and, so a lot of times people in chat will go look up something and bring it back, and I appreciate that. I try not to do that during the podcast. To me, it's very annoying when people do that. It's like, let me get my keyboard out and I just say, oh, y'all keep talking. I find that to be, first of all, it drives me a little crazy. I feel it's distracting. Even if I had multiple people in here, I really don't do it. To me, that's something I'll make a note of and go look at later. Every once in a while, I'll pull up something, but I try to not do that. I just had one of my church brothers send me a nice New Year's message from the church. I appreciate that. I don't expect people to come in and go, the great Dave. He's all knowledgeable. We must listen to him. No. I do not get offended that you're disagreeing with me. Yes, there is a mission field at AA meetings. Absolutely. And I didn't mean that in any kind of way. So I'm still catching up with chats, man. But always researching. But I don't get, listen, if you say Jesus is evil or something, I'm going to disagree with that, but I'm not mad. Because people are people, and you got to meet them where they are. And I remember when I wasn't going to church and I wasn't serving God, and people came at me, and there was that part of me was like, because I knew what I was supposed to be doing, but I wasn't doing it. And people would come at me and they would say, this probably going to make you mad. And I'd say, actually, it doesn't. If I'm looking defensive, it's because I know that I need to be there and I'm not. I was honest with them. I'm just not ready. but please always come and invite me, pray for me. I would always say that. And I went back and told those same people when I did rededicate my life to Christ. I went back and told a lot of those people, hey, thanks for caring about me when I was adrift. Thanks for, and I had a good friend, and he would challenge stuff that, in a Christian kind of way. And I love that kind of stuff. I love the conversation. I love the debate. I love, as long as it's civil, and we can be passionate. I got no problem with being passionate. I don't like attack. I don't like for somebody to be personal, start tearing someone down, because that's ineffective in the witness. I want to let people know, first of all, I love you. I care about you. I may not even know you, but I can say I love you because Jesus loves you. And I know that he died for you just as much as he died for me. And I want him, or I would always want to try to be a witness first, and my own cares and desires, feelings. I don't get my feelings too much. It's really it might shock you that if there's ever been anything that's went a little sideways on this program, I felt more bad about it than anybody, because if I felt like somebody hated me after that and wouldn't come to the podcast, that bothered me, because my intent was for them not to go away. People have differing opinions about who should be here and who should not. And I don't think that it's a stretch, and this is not meant to be a shot. And if it gets back, I'll probably get in trouble. Me and my former co-host, we looked at things a little different. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. Please, I'm not saying that. And so it was better for us to, him do his thing, me do my thing, because we just looked at things a little different, and it was just causing problems. And we are friends, and we don't collaborate on anything. He's doing his thing, I'm doing mine, and I think that's what he would say. But it was a little stressful because we just disagreed, and it was just 2026 is really just a kind of a reboot for all that. I've been working over the last couple of months, really divesting and getting things changed over. And now I'm really at that point. I've got a couple of things to do, and then just moving into 26. I'm very happy. He's happy. Everything's good. But this point here was a big discussion point. And I don't think I don't think anybody that knew anything about it would think that that's not true. I think that I'm just being honest. Dr. Dave's show. Dr. Dave's show, like and prescribe for the fun time and daily breakdown of world events. Hey, thanks, man. And you know what? And I appreciate your faithfulness to always come in. And I listen. I don't get mad if somebody says, hey, I'm going over to Killer Carl's, over to James, over to Angry Conservative, over to Rob, over to Half Pine Forge, Kim's Coffee Talk, and I could go on and on. By all means, support those people. Go watch what they got to say, But when you're here, hey, I appreciate it. I like that we have a following that will pop in. They see the notification go up, and they say, hey, I'm going to go join Dave for, if it's 5 minutes, 5 seconds, or 2 hours. I appreciate it. If you're in and out, even, hey, life is precious. That's your time. The fact that you give me some of it is really a blessing. I read the comment. Thank you, man. You know what? Like I said, we're gonna have to have another phone call. One of these days, we'll have coffee together or something, man. We will. I'll get a road trip. Me and Biscuit Boy, we've talked about doing that. But I'd like to meet you one day. I love our music discussions. I love that. I love our political discussions. And I always said this. Most people that disagreed previously, I'll just say it that way, we probably agreed on more than you really thought on some things. Let me say this in a way that I can't say, and it's really a shame, I can't say everything that I feel about a matter that I would like to sometimes. And there's a reason for that, because I have to be very careful, not from the platforms, because I never know who's watching, and sometimes that's why I go offline and have some discussions, and because it could affect me in my business life. One day that won't be there, and I would be a little more vocal in some ways, but I have to be careful with that. And I don't, what I say I believe in, but some things I have not said and been quiet on. And I've been attacked on that. You were quiet on this. You did. And I said, I can't. I just can't. And there is precedent to that. I lost a good friend. I worked with a guy that I thought was great, and he fell under. We'll just say that he was something. He wasn't on a podcast. He actually wrote a letter to the editor, and it got people came after him, and it was, let's just say I don't work with him no more. So well, I'll say this, watchman to that, is I've heard from a lot of people who told me they tuned the show out because of certain things, and that bothered me. That really did bother me, and I hate that. They're good. They have no ill will towards anybody. They just said, "Listen, I can't do that," and I turned it off. And yeah, I understand. So anyway, I don't want any kind of trouble, but I would just say that, there's people that don't like me, and maybe they don't like things I said too, or didn't say, or whatever. But it was a tough balance, and man, listen, man, I make mistakes too. I have faults of my own, and sometimes I yinged when I should have yanged, or whatever you want to say. And I really was doing heavy evaluation on a lot of stuff, and it's just better because now it just frees up a lot of stuff, and like I said, it's just a better thing, even though that was very hard, and it hit me real hard, more than people will ever know, and it's still hard. But at the same time, I will say it this way: it was so hard that if it wasn't for people like you and co-hosts that I had, I'd have walked away, even though I love it. I would have took a huge break because it just was wearing on me really hard, and it hurt. The whole thing has hurt because, listen, at the end of the day, like what I say, I love everybody, and I do, and I can't stand to have trouble with somebody. It just bothers me. I'm geared that way. Some people, it don't bother them a bit. They could argue all day long with people and have people say, I hate your guts and all that. I have a hard time with that. And it can be used, it can be a weakness for me. I have to be real hard with it. I have to evaluate that always within myself. Can I get mad and shoot somebody out? Sure, because I can get in the flesh. But I try not to do that. I try to be a friend to all. And that's the hardest thing when people say you're not being a friend. That's hard for me. It is really, really hard for me. And we are growing, brother. It's amazing. I want to say we are growing in lots of ways. Some people don't see. And I think they like what we're doing. And we're trying to bring a lot of value to the podcast and bring some interesting topics and things to people that they would be interested in. Listen, I'm not a straight political guy all the time. I could do that every day. And I like doing it. It's just not my thing every day. I will mention it every day. But man, I like talking about music history. I like talking about the history show and some of the history of our area. I love that stuff, man. That's who I am. I like talking about books because I'm a reader. Amen. I like the Sunday morning show. I like Wolf Nation or Cornbread Nation. Us having a little bit of fun and talking about adventures. I got to get the vent going back again. Heck, I like to vent like anybody. I'm going to start that this week. I like the puppets. I like my little buddies. I like having fun with that. I do love it. If I didn't, I wouldn't be here. I'm very close to my family. And it's there's a part of me, my wife supports what I do. And I try to balance that. I spend a lot of time with her, but also spend a lot of time here. But I'm right at my property. It's not like I drove somewhere. And, sometimes I take less time. Sometimes I cancel a show because I don't feel good or there's life going on. I try not to do that. Like last night, I just decided to support James, so I didn't go back. I went back and cleaned up my band schedule because I didn't go live. But it's okay. And no, I'm not going to talk about those things. And I am so excited about the future. And I really hate to go back, but just by way of referencing that, and I'm really just trying to explain kind of where I'm at with those things. People are going to get mad at you. You can't stop that. But I am trying to have a balance. I would just say it's that it's a consistent balance to all those things. So the person that comes in the chat, I don't have my finger on the ban button or the kick out or the timeout or whatever until it goes. I have a line that I don't like to cross over because I think it starts becoming detrimental to the chat. I try to just time them out. If they come back and they do it a second time. Today, I actually just banned somebody. But sometimes you're not going to, in the moment, you're not going to change their opinion and you know what they're being. So I don't need it here. There's how many billions of people on the face of the planet? There'll be somebody else come along. So there is not that. I don't know what you mean. There is not that. Those are all me. Those are all me. Those are all my creations. Some ideas germinated through some stuff, but I get you. But yeah, that's all me. I love doing it. Am I good at it? Heck, no, I'm not good at it. I like having fun at it. I do work at it, but I have forever and a day did voices with my grandchildren, and I like the idea of puppets. And I like bringing those characters to life, and we're fixing to add to it. The idea was to get up to about 5 or 6, but Biscuit Boy is really wants to get involved, and so he's going to have one that's going to be showing up soon. He's trying to decide right now, and we're working on that on the side. Remake the puppet into Biscuit Boy. Well, I like Uncle Jeb and I like Georgia Bubba, but I am going to be introducing some new people. So we're going to have a young companion for Georgia Bubba. There is a older female. This is going to be a challenging voice for me. An older female, on again, off again girlfriend for Uncle Jeb. That's been out there for months. I just haven't done it. Our own groundhog. We're going to rename the groundhog though, because we're just going to have to do that. So next year, that's going to happen pretty quick. Going to have our own groundhog. Got to build a box. Biscuit Boy's going to help me with that. Probably a police officer, because I just like the idea of having one. It would be funny. And maybe one other one. And of course, whatever he's coming up with. The $6 million puppet will build him stronger, straighter, more based. Oh, cool. If I could do more voices, I'd have 50 of them. I would do that a lot. I got to get the Jeb and Bubba show back up. I have to be in the right frame of mind to do it. I really do take on the alter ego of those puppets. It's funny. My sister came to the studio one day. She goes, "Brother, you don't talk to those puppets, do you?" And I said, "Sure I do." She laughed. And she said, "When you're in here by yourself, you talk to the puppets?" I said, "You dang right I do." I come in all the time. And it ain't every day, but I'll one day I had one of them laying kind of awkward. I was talking to him like, "Hey, George Bub, I'm sorry. I had you laying the wrong way. Let me fix that for you. How y'all doing today?" Oh, it's all fun. It's all fun. It's all good. Biscuit Boy, this is funny. You know, Biscuit Boy didn't know that I did the voice for Uncle Jeb. I could make a Carl Childers puppet. I met a lady once, and I thought we might hook up into a puppet ministry type thing. She did a lot of it and was looking for a new outlet. I met her at a hospital. She was a not at RN, but she worked at the hospital, and it just didn't happen, but she was very excited about it. She works with the local drama teams, but she loves puppets. I thought we might could do some work together on that, and it just didn't work out. So for whatever reason, God's timing. I wanted, we're actually still, we haven't done it. We're supposed to build a puppet stage. It'll be collapsible so that we can move it in the studio. But Carl likes French fried potatoes. I like it. But we were supposed to build a puppet stage because that is the challenging part for me. And I hate the young lady just won't watch anymore because I did the filming in front of the Trump flag. She's a nice young lady. She's just been brainwashed. I mean, that is sad. That's sad. We're actually got the demographics for this show are really kind of crazy. There is a lot of young people that come into the show. They don't always talk. Sometimes they do, but they're very young. And they, by the way, that's one of the guys I banned was a guy that one night got smart with me and told me that my granddaughter shouldn't be in the chat. And I banned him. I'm like, dude, because he sent something out of the way to my granddaughter. And I'm like, you need to watch your mouth, man. Like, I don't know what your problem is, but why are you don't attack kids anyway. And so through YouTube, there's a lot of young people that will pop in, and they don't stay long, but they do drop in. And I have some young people that like to watch. They'll watch the shorts that I do, and they like the puppets, But obviously they're not interested in geopolitical politics and all that. The music, they could care less about that, but they love some of the funny stuff. And they'll say to my granddaughter, they'll say, your grandpa's funny. Or they just laugh at me. I don't know. I got to watch Sling Blade. I got to be honest with you, Watchman. I never watched. I've seen bits and pieces. I never watched the whole thing. I'm a weird dude. I never watched a lot of newer movies. And I know that's been out there for a bit. I'm an old soul, man. I watch things that are like 1990 and back. I have not seen a lot of modern stuff. Every once in a while, I'll see something. I'll go, I want to watch that. I have not watched Yellowstone. Everybody talks about that. I've not watched one episode of Yellowstone. Some people told me I should. Others said, no, you're not missing nothing. I've never watched it. I'm not a fan of current sitcoms, and I have not been for 20 years. I've never sat and watched Friends, Sex and the City, anything like that. I just don't care for it. I like watching old black and white stuff, westerns and stuff. I like me some Gunsmoke. I like Andy Griffith's show, All in the Family, because I just like the comedy. I like some things that are just westerns, but I like comedy as well. It's an old school movie filmed in a southern town. You would love it. I will. I actually, it's not like I was intentionally not trying not to. I just never did. Me and my wife have went and seen a couple movies together, but they were Christian based. They were made by that Christian production company, that church in Georgia that's done a lot. I've watched a lot of their stuff. I've watched some from some other people as well. I listen to Kevin Sorbo a lot, and I like what he's involved with. He does a lot of stuff like that as an actor. He catches a lot of heat for his stand as a Christian. God bless him, man. God bless him. But I appreciate these suggestions. So sometimes when I'm being quiet in a podcast and you are talking about something, I can't add anything. So I just stay quiet. I'm just listening. It isn't time that I can, when y'all are talking about an old movie or something, and Biscuit Boy, he'll talk about stuff that I don't know. So those are times I need to shut up and listen because I can't add anything to the discussion. And they will say something like, you don't know that? How does anybody not know this show? And I'll say, well, I'm one of those guys. I have went and watched some stuff that people talked about. And people get mad at me because I told them I didn't care for, what's the movie Oh, brother, where art thou? I got 20 minutes in. I couldn't take no more. And listen, I'm not bashing it. It just wasn't for me. I don't know why. I don't know. I just didn't care for it. I don't know why, but I didn't. I like that song though. I like bluegrass. Again, I'm not putting it down. I'm not judging. I just didn't care for it. So, but I like some movies that other people don't like too. Like there's older movies that the people say that's horrible, but I like it. Maybe it says a lot about my personality. I don't know. Um, but I probably need to get off here. I've been going for 2 hours. I wasn't planning on that, but I'm off today. It's New Year's. I am going to watch some football today, but I will be podcasting today. Oh, and yesterday's morning show, the internet went out in my area. I was all set to go live, and it was giving me bad numbers, and I knew it'd be horrible. And I sat in the studio for 45 minutes trying to make it right. I went back. I told my wife, I said, something's not right. I could always tell when the system's going to go down. And Xfinity had a major power outage in the area, and it was not fixed until the early afternoon, like about 2 o'clock. I finally got the message that says, is your everything's back up? Are you okay? The bots do that. But it's been very strong since. So the soundtrack is probably really good, man. I would bet it is. I need to listen to that. But yeah, like I said, I did follow the guy. I can't remember his name. Was Rick? Rick, man, I'm bad with names until I practice them 2 or 3 times. I think he was on last night. Probably he'd probably be on. Is he on every night? Is Rick on every night, or do you know, Watchman? I'd like to go back and watch him again. And I enjoyed some of the conversations in the chats and stuff. But I like I like him. He seemed like a really nice guy, and just super, super respectful and friendly. And sometimes you get into something like that, and people's ego is based on the Odyssey by Homer, the one-eyed Bible salesman that beats up the boys and throws Pete the Frog against the tree is the Cyclops in the Odyssey. Okay, cool. Rick's been on a lot lately. Well, and I'm sure he's trying to make a few bucks, and at least that helps offset stuff or maybe makes a little bit. I will say I went and looked at his merch. I came very close to ordering the jacket, man. It was not a bad price, and he had my size. I think it would fit. I need to measure. That's the only reason I didn't do it. I love it. He don't have a lot of merch, but what he has is pretty cool. But I almost bought the hat, and I was very close to buying that jacket, and I never do that. I thought about gifting myself a late Christmas present. I am going to buy something from him. I like to buy merch from people that do shows and stuff, and I'll look for something that I like. Like I bought from Big Tony. I bought stuff from the Celtic Blacksmith. Quite a few stuff. Actually, some of the stuff's hanging in the studio right behind me. Killer Carl, when he was advertising for 555coffee.com, which is a great coffee, I bought, and I would do that. Yesterday, I bought the Neils. I started saying the McNeils. They're the Neils. They have released a new single, and I bought that yesterday. It's just it's being released in January this month. I think later in the month. So I try to support those things as I can, and I find something in my price range, and then I buy it. I'm always a sucker for a coffee mug and a hat. I'm a big sucker for that. I very rarely buy shirts and stuff because they don't fit me real well. But occasionally I'll find somebody. And I like the fact he had plus sizes. I need to lose weight, sure. But I like the fact that he had those sizes. And I like, those are good designs, man. I was like, that looks killer. I say jacket. It was a zip-up hoodie. This is my problem with hoodies. Let me vent for just a second. Listen, I like hoodies. We can't wear them where I work at because of the machinery, but you can come in with them on. But I don't like having to take the hoodie off over my head. The zip-up hoodie is really cool, and that's what he had. That's why I wanted it. It looked great, and I'm gonna buy that thing. I know I am. He said Marty Friedman of Megadeth came to see him when he had a band. I heard him sort of mentioning that. I would say after watching him play that Marty Friedman had a huge respect for him. Marty Friedman is crazy fast. But I could see him having a great respect for that. That's pretty cool, though. I also think it's funny to hear from his side as a musician and someone who creates that he had to go under the radar for the Ingwe stuff because he said actually it's his wife who will she will get you canceled and all that stuff. So he just play. He can't. People don't understand that don't create. He's you have to be careful with that. People get away with more on Rumble than they do YouTube with that. But he's YouTube guy, and it works for him. And hey, YouTube has an amazing following. If you can become big on YouTube, you can make money. Some money anyway, like the others. But they will shut you down, and he's trying to be careful with that. And I understand that. Great respect, but man, it's amazing. His at times I had to tell my eyes how fast he was really playing. Crazy. Yeah, Rick is fast as picking. That's what I was just saying, man. We hit the same thing. Like I forget how fast his right hand is moving. Just that part. He is amazing fast. I was like, wow. But listen, what I like about him, I'm not really into the really fast stuff all the time. I don't mind you like amping up. It's like putting the pedal to the metal and going there. But I like the stuff that he was being more melodic and stuff. And he has a lot of soul. He has a lot of feel in his playing. And that's what I liked. I listen, great respect for somebody just being able to go, for a whole song. But he has and I'm a big fan of songs that switch time. And he does that a lot. And I love it. And that's why I really liked it. If he was playing it straight fast, I would be impressed. And I would say, that's amazing. And, great job. Wow. But I wouldn't be as wanting to buy it as much. He does, man. He really does play with a lot of soul. And that song that he played, what was that called? The Storm? No, it wasn't The Storm. What was it? The Freeze? Man, I can't wait to hear the new song he's talking about. Maybe it's the song hasn't released yet that he's talking about, or album. And I would definitely buy it. I would say that digital download or whatever, that's probably what he does. I asked the question. I think he just didn't see it. Is his stuff available out there that he's done already is he on like the digital stuff, or is he at Amazon, or do you know? Because I didn't get that question answered. And I was wondering on that. To be honest, he's one of the best around, period, for neoclassical. Folks, if you give me his name again, Watchman, punch it in. And if you know where his stuff is listed, just let me know and I will look it up, because I help a brother out. He's a hardworking man. I can respect that. But I know that I would listen to his stuff. It's not just I would buy it. I would listen to his, and I like that there's no singing there. I like instrumentals. There you go. Thank you. Folks, if you've never listened to this guy, there's a lot of people watching from around. Look him up on YouTube and just be blessed at his ability, considering how he was born, his physical, what he has, what he doesn't have. And he's an inspiration, how he has not let that hold him back whatsoever. In fact, he is as good as anybody out there, because he puts all that time in it. And I wondered last night, does it hurt him because of that, or that's just natural for him, or does it hurt to play, or is there pain there because of it? I wondered that, because it's very different, but maybe it's not. Maybe that's just who he is and it doesn't hurt. But look him up. Just look him up. You don't got to become a follower or nothing like that, but go see what we're saying on YouTube. And he goes live a lot, according to Watchman. I've only been one live, but he is amazing. He's an amazing guitar player, and he has an amazing story, and he's a super nice guy. He was very respectful, and, I just didn't see the ego. He was telling you straight out how he felt about stuff, but I didn't detect like no big ego or nothing. He just was a cool dude, man. That's the kind of guy you could hang out and, go to a ball game with, or, go watch a concert or whatever. And he seemed like a person of many, many different things, not just that. He was willing, talk about, one of the things I liked about what he said that what was it? He said that people over pedal, and I like that. You know what? The gadgets, I like that they can create with that stuff, but a guy in his guitar and you're just changing guitars to get down. I like that better. In fact, Vivian Campbell went back. He doesn't have a whammy bar. Some people whammy bars feel like they have to whammy every second. I don't like that. I like it used within there. People need restraint. Be very judicious how you use some of those things. And I agree with him that some people are just too many pedals, too many. Hey, my nephew that I was telling you about that hunts hogs with knife had a GoFundMe for cancer center. He is going to maybe you could share it out. Yeah, just send that to me, man. I'll be glad to do it. Email it to me, probably better. I do got to get off here. My wife is probably thinking, where's my husband at? I know my granddaughter's calling, so I do have to go. God bless you. Happy New Year. I appreciate you coming in the stream and welcome me into this new year. I will. That is the plan, to be back on this evening for a couple of shows. I am going to watch my Georgia Bulldogs. I probably will not go live while that game is on because I'm a dog fan. Ohio State lost to Miami. I think it's funny. I'm sorry, Ohio State fans. And I got to give Ohio people a little bit of heck about that last night. I did it in a nice way. I don't like Day, the coach, but those kids play hard. Nobody. It's tough to lose. I am for Indiana today, not because I hate Bama. I just like to see them win. I like to see another matchup. Georgia, obviously, and who's the other one? God, Oregon. I want to see Oregon win that. Dan Lanning. That's who I'm pulling for. So have a great day out there. We'll see you soon. If we don't, we'll see you next time whenever you come on. Blessings to all. God bless America, and God bless our faith. Where I'm looking for a song. Let's go out with. Oh my goodness! Yeah, let's do a little Southern talk. I like that. That's a good smooth song to go out with. Hey, take care. God bless everybody. We'll see you this afternoon, maybe this evening, and go be happy you're an American and go do something fun today because you have freedom. If it's just sitting watching football, exercise your right to watch that football. Take care.
It's a complicated life for the Southern people. Like a small town, nothing's real. Mama's still doing wrong. Don't tell the preacher. Nothing really changes except the weather. If you can't